Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Arupa Gopal-Campbell, and I am currently serving as the National Vice President for Student Affairs of Kappa Kappa Psi. Welcome to our final VPSA Chat of the biennium. I'm so excited to be here with President Bong Ko as we're going to talk about preparing for National Convention. Bong, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely, Arupa. Thank you for having me. Thank you for thinking about this as a core topic for this VPSA chat. And I look forward to sharing as much as I can about National Convention and why everyone should attend.
Absolutely. As always, if anyone has any questions, please put them in the comments and we will make sure that we will get those answered for you. And following this meeting, we are being recorded. We're going to be putting the recording for future viewing in the chapter resources folder on the Google Drive, and we will go over those specifics at the very end. So with all of that out of the way and hoping that we're still live, we will move on. So first, we're going to talk about this in a little bit of a timeline way. So before convention, during convention, and after convention. So right now, we're starting with before. So what should folks be thinking about right now?
Absolutely. I do also want to let you know, I do see that we're live, but I believe we're live on your Facebook page.
My Facebook page.
I
That's
think
so
so.
weird.
We can keep
Okay,
going and we can share it from your page. How's that?
that's really interesting. I didn't think it would default to that, but okay. I'm happy to keep it there and share it to the national page if that works for you.
Up to you. Up to you. Yes, I am good with that.
Do you think folks will have trouble finding it though, if it's not on the national page?
I do think so,
Okay,
yes.
so let's stop this for now.
This was a good test run. How
Um,
about that?
Stop. I don't know why it defaulted that way. It usually just goes to the national. Okay, more live stream, live on Facebook.
There should be a thing that says like to your profile or to
Okay,
your page or like to a page you manage.
okay. Share on your own timeline. Okay, share to your page. I didn't click that. I got it. Okay, let's select page. That one. Go live. Clicked the button. It's loading.
I see it.
I got an error message, so I'm going to click go live again.
It's up in the page. I think we're good.
Okay. Well,
Oh wait. Hold on. It's thinking.
it's thinking about itself.
Okay.
It's not quite done loading on my screen here yet. And it's timed out. Try again.
I think usually when it says the error that it's already actually working, it's just some for some reason it continues because it did the same thing to me the whatever time I did it before. So I think even if it's an error, just press OK and just let it go.
Can you see if it's up? Because it keeps telling me the connection is timing out.
Mm. And can we exit the here? Let me. Do you mind if I give it a try now?
Well, it's thinking about something. Let me see if this one works. It's like just got a little bit left on the loading. Okay, it's timing out, so I'm gonna exit.
I know. Facebook will be Facebook. Let me go to the fraternity page and let me get rid of that one. Be-doo, be-doo, be-doo. Move to trash. Move. I want to do that. One thing I do want to figure out in the future is how do we do Instagram lives like this? So I feel like we would catch way more students there.
Sure.
I might do something maybe on Friday, do a little bit of a walkthrough of the space.
Oh, yeah.
Still giving you trouble?
I stopped trying. Did you want to try?
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought we were waiting. If you make me a co-host, I should be able to. I think something happened. Okay. Um, Host tools. Does it give me?
I can just make you the host.
Yeah, if you don't mind. I don't see the live stream option for some reason. Okay, I am host now. All right. Live stream to Facebook. Continue as Bang Company. Bang. Beep, 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 beep. Share to your page. Select page. Do, 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 do.
See
It
the
is
icon.
loading. It is loading. Beep, 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 beep. Ba-do-boo-boo. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-boom. Is it working? Oh,
Oh. Yay. Hello. Sorry, everyone, for the delay. Thanks for being here. My name is Arupa Gopal-Campbell. I am currently serving as the National Vice President for Student Affairs of Kappa Psi. And for the very last VPSA chat of the biennium, I am so excited to be joined by President Bong Ko to talk about preparing for National Convention. Thank you so much, Bong, for joining me.
absolutely. It is an honor to be back on a VPSA chat. It's been a minute since I've been a guest or a host of the VPSA chat, and I'm so very excited to talk more about National Convention and why everyone should attend this summer.
Absolutely. So, as always, feel free to put any questions in the comments. We will make sure to get those answered. We will be checking in periodically. And we are also recording this, so it will go straight into the chapter resources folder on the Google Drive when it's all done and ready and cleaned up. And we will go more into those specifics at the end. But for now, we will just get right into it. We're going to be talking about National Convention and preparing for it in sort of a timeline fashion. So, before convention, during, and after. So right now we're going to start with the before.
Yes. So we are what today is today or tomorrow is it 30 days out technically.
Yeah,
And so we're gonna have a lot. It's sort of like, your typical crescendo or your where things are gonna exponentially get just more NatCon front facing. So again, about 30 days out. please do anticipate an email from myself or HQ with some of the information that we want to get in front of our students and delegates as they start discussing some important changes, important decisions for National Convention. But before we get into any of that, the primary thing right now is making sure that we get our chapters to send in their chapter delegate or proxy form. So while I would love to have every chapter represented by a chapter member of their own, I know that that may not be realistic. So even if you're not attending, please do fill out that form so that way you still have a say in who represents you in terms of who you would like to serve as your proxy. And I think there's 2 or 3 options for proxy 1, 2, and 3. And then, of course, there's also the opportunity once we do seating of the delegate for a life member from your chapter to sit as well. So if you have not reached out to your alums and asked who is attending, please take the time to do that. There's going to be a lot of information coming your way in addition to that regarding any of the awards and recognitions at National Convention. Where this weekend, Thursday and Friday, actually, myself, Dolly, Aaron, and Leslie, TBS National President, will be going down to Lexington to do another walkthrough, and so anticipate just some highlights and videos and whatnot from me on our social media accounts as well. There's going to be a lot of information in terms of what to pack, in terms of what you can expect in terms of uh, each the schedule each day, things that you should get excited for. So again, there's a lot of information. There's a lot of things I can throw at you right now, but the main thing I would say is make sure you have your chapter delegate and proxy form completed. Talk to your alums about any potential help and funding for your chapter to go, or see if any life members are planning on attending so that they can represent your chapter as well. So I'll pause there, but Arupa, please feel free to ask questions about anything specific, and I'll do my best to answer.
Yeah, so for the delegate and proxy form, for someone who might not be familiar, it's just your way to say, who is going to be there in person to sit for our chapter. And if they can't, here are the chapters whose members we would like to represent us in our stead. And most of the time, it's chapters that you know already, folks that you're already friends with, maybe people who line up with your decision making in general so that you feel like your chapter can be well represented. And it's important for you to get the form in just to make sure all of that is on the record with the council so that we can have everybody represented the way that they want to be. If you are a chapter member and you don't remember talking about your chapter delegate or proxies that you might want, if you're not sure if you've turned in your form yet, please reach out to your chapter president and double check that with them. It's entirely possible it's already in process, but it's never a bad idea for chapter members to be involved with that process to make sure everything is all set for their home chapter. So, super important. Make sure that you are getting on that as soon as possible at this point. Is there a deadline for that?
I was just about to jump in and say I forgot to mention the deadline, so thank you for asking. So if you go to our natcon.kkytbsonline.com, there is information about exactly what the form is about, why it's important, everything that Arupa just shared. But to answer your question, Arupa, June 15th, no later than June 15th, 2025. So if you were paying attention to our social media, if you go back, you'll see that we were really pushing June 1 deadline, and that was the early deadline for any chapter delegates to get preferences on their on our national committees at National Convention. The absolute deadline for any other chapter delegate proxy form is June 15th, 2025, which I believe is a Sunday.
It's Sunday. So it's the 10th currently. It is Tuesday. So you've got till the end of the week and through the weekend to get them in. Again, if you're not sure if your chapter has done this already, please reach out to your chapter president and just double check. It's never a bad idea.
Period.
Okay, so the next thing I think we can talk about a little bit is registration. So
Mhm.
registration numbers, how are we doing? What are our goals? How's it going?
Yes, so I'm going to pull up some of that information so that way I don't speak incorrectly here. Ooh, I'm a little bit laggy. So with registration, we have been to Lexington. This is the same exact site in '05 and 10 years ago in 2015. And if we were to take a look at the numbers, on average, we see anywhere around 750 attendees, both KK Psi and TBS.
And
And
alumni. So that's total.
yes, total everybody and alumni as well. Yep.
Great.
And what we are aiming for the KK Psi side of things is for our actives. We would love to see at least 450 active members registered and in attendance at National Convention this summer. For our alums, we've been working with our KK Psi Alumni Association and their board of directors to set a goal of 150 non-NLT. So that means non-alumni who are not on the national council, non-governors, non-people who are being paid for by the fraternity to be a part to help put on the convention. So this is somebody who's paying to be a part of the convention experience. So 150. So looking at some of the numbers here, let me pull up what we have so far. And huge thanks to Aaron Moore, who's been pulling this information for us twice a week. So we started tracking on near the end of May, so near the end of last month, around May 22nd. We started out at 90 or so active alums and about 60 alumni. Today, or I should say, at the 9th, we have 339 active members who have registered, which is a huge jump. And we have about 177 total alumni, but that, of course, that includes NLT members as well. So we are really, really close to our goal. I think once I filtered out all the NLT members, the alumni was about 135. So it's about 90% of the
Wow.
way there. So we
Yeah.
only need about 50 more to hit our goal, but let's again strive for the highest. Let's shoot for even more. So if you're an alum, if you're watching, if you're not watching, please pass this on to somebody that you would love to see come back into the fold of Kappa Kappa Psi, re-engage with Kappa Kappa Psi. Our KK Psi Alumni Association have been hard at work making sure that they put on amazing programming for you all there. And of course, on the regular, the national side of things, so we have put together a very exciting agenda as well. So again, 90% of the way there, about 15 more to go for the alums. And for the KK Psi active side, we are about 111 short of our goal. But again, I know that we'll hit this goal and I know that we'll surpass this goal as well. So 111 is cake. So if you already are sending members there, think about, can you get one or two more actives to go? If you are sort of on the fence about going or not, try to get you and another chapter member at least to try attending, because our goal is to have at least 2 to 3 active members per
Right.
chapter to attend national convention. Again, just to make sure that your voice is heard, your vote is counted, and that your chapter needs and wants and your vision for what Kappa Kappa Psi should be and can be is folded into the decisions that we make this summer.
Absolutely. So if we're talking about registering for convention right now, today, how does one go about doing that?
Yes. So if you were to go to natcon.kkytbsonline.com, it will take you to sort of our event info page itself. So once you go onto there, and do you want me to do a share screen? Would that be helpful? Or
Yeah,
I don't
probably.
know. Okay. Okay, let me do that. All right, folks, we're doing the thing. We're doing the Zoom thing here.
Sharing.
Sharing screen. All right, Arupa, do you see the event page?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So again, this is natcon.kkytbsonline.com. And so on this page, you'll see a lot of information from the convention policy, and that's going to be something important for all members to pay attention to, especially our alums. We want to make sure that you hold an active and you membership with our AA to make sure that you can attend not just an LAA tier, but the national KK Psi AA membership.
Right.
We have our schedule as well. So again, you'll go through all of this information on here, which I'm sure we'll go over later. But to your
Yeah.
question, Arupa, on the third thing here is register online. Click there. It will take you to the actual registration page, which is through Event Spark. And again, some more information, yada yada yada. The one thing to note is that our on-time pricing ended on this past Sunday, so we are now at 195. So up here at the top right, you click register now, and it will take you to this info section here where we'll collect your information. So again, pretty easy. Yeah. Anything else I should clarify, Arupa?
No, that sounds good. I think it's helpful to see what it looks like when you're there and the pricing. So, like we said, the on-time registration deadline was this past Sunday on the 8th. So now we are in a little bit more of just like a $20 increase on the registration as we get closer to National Convention. But we still hope that you can join us. You're still able to register. And if you have any issues or questions at all with the registration process, just let us know.
Yeah. And if I may add in a few more, just maybe behind the scenes a little bit here, is with national conventions, I think it was the Stillwater, the Centennial one, and maybe a couple of the Orlando conventions. We generally lose money on national conventions, and we recognize and we this is an investment in our members and their experience. It's something that's written into our national constitution that we have to do, and it's an important piece, I think, of the membership experience, retention, and just overall. Even alums who have been out of KKSI for a while or been around for a while,
Right,
it's a time and a place for us to sort of reignite that passion, sort of reconnect with our values, why KKSI is important, or our KKY to be simple. So we know that we lose money. One of the reasons we lose money is because we try to make sure that these conventions are as affordable as possible. And we know that in these times, that's not always easy to say or do, but knowing that we chose Lexington specifically for the price range of it, at 175, we know that that may not be easy for everybody, but we hope that it is a price that where we can still make back some of the money to cover some of the larger expenses. And for our alums as well, one of the really important pieces about this is that we have a room block that we need to meet. So I encourage alums, everybody, but particularly our alums, to make sure that you stay at the Hyatt. That's a part of this convention center to make sure that we do meet our room block. If we don't, again, that's a part of the reason why we might lose money if we don't meet that room block. And making sure that our alums also take the time to appreciate that they're paying the same price as our actives. If we were to look at any other organization where our alum members, you're most likely going to pay a much higher price point. And then even to some of our alums who have attended any sort of professional conference, you know
right,
that you're paying $500 at least and maybe higher for just
right.
the registration, which doesn't include all the other stuff that we're including into this price. So 175 now, 195. Again, we know that everything's kind of based on the situation, based on the perspective. But the point I'm wanting to make is that we've been very intentional about making this as affordable, as accessible as possible, and again, choosing a location that is sort of in the middle for all of our chapters. I think when we did the research, it's about driving distance for 80% of our chapters or so.
Yeah,
And
that's
again,
amazing.
175, 195 is a price point that we think that sort of is hopefully a win-win for both sides. So, anyways, I just wanted to make that point because it is important for folks to know that the national organizations, we are investing in your experience, and 175 is something that sort of like the bare minimum that we need to charge. But we need people to show up. We need people to register. We need people to attend. We need people to be in the hotel.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you talk a little bit about professional conferences. You know, people might not know what to expect about a national convention, and I'm sure we'll go into the schedule in a minute. But in talking about the value for the cost that you're paying, the convention isn't just business meetings and voting. There are other things going on. And so if I were to attend a professional conference for leadership development, I probably would spend a whole lot more than what the cost is to come to our convention. And so I really highly encourage you to think of this as an investment in your own personal development as well, because there are going to be a lot of opportunities for you to get some great information and advice and thoughts from both the speakers that you're going to be hearing from, but also from your fellow bands members from all across the country. So we're not just trying to have you come to Lexington to sit in chairs and vote all day. Um, there are a lot of other things that you're going to be able to experience, and it's going to be a good value for that cost. So, as we talked about registration and we talked about the delegate and proxy forms, um, we did look at the registration. Do we want to just tour the National Convention website at this point?
Yeah, let's do that. Let me pull this back up. So we took a look at it just a bit earlier. So let me do a bit of a deeper dive. And as I'm pulling this up, Arupa, if I can just kind of talk about that pricing again. If when we talk about banquet pricing, for example, which is will be at the end of Friday evening, the banquet meal itself is about 75 bucks. So again, if you really think
Per
about
person.
per person, yes, per
Right.
person, per plate. So again, if you've been to any sort of galas or big fundraisers or again these professional events, you know how expensive these things can get. So again, I just want everyone to know we've been stressing out every day, every night to make sure this is as affordable as possible.
Right.
So
It
all
wasn't
right,
an arbitrary selection.
it was not. Okay, let me make sure. All right. You
Yeah.
see the homepage? Great.
Yep.
All right. So again, you can go to natcon.kkytbsonline.com. You'll see a lot of information here, but I'll go to the schedule first if that's okay, Rupa.
Yep. And I put the link in the comments on the post so you can copy paste from there as well if you are watching.
Amazing. Thank you for that. So we start on Tuesday, July 15th, 2025. And again, just kind of a sneak peek behind the veil here or the behind the scenes here is that the national council members, the NLT members will most likely, well, we will in fact be there much earlier. We have what we call summer council meetings, which I believe start on the 10th or so. And then after a couple of days of that, we go into national leadership conference with our district governors and our KKSI district presidents. So we'll be there for a little bit before everyone gets here, but it's also a really good time for us to start prepping to make sure that you all have the best experience possible. Now, heading into National Convention itself, we have joint opening session at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Tuesday, July 15th. And I won't go through the schedule bit by bit here, but you can kind of see what we've built out, starting with a separate session. And just as a note, we won't be doing seating of the delegates until the next day. That separate session is more so just as an introduction. We may have some fun planned for introducing our NLT members as
Perhaps.
well. And then we also have our first keynote speaker, and I'll share more about that in just a bit. And then we'll go into, we'll have some time where we'll do committee meetings for those who are assigned to committees, but also I want to make sure that folks get time to visit the marketplace. And I'm trying to figure out somewhere in between here where we can maybe do some tables with all the different candidates. And I know we'll probably talk
Um,
about sorry, national election soon, but we have 16 candidates for office, and that's a lot of people to talk to. That's a lot of people to try to fit into different caucuses. So I'm going to try to think outside the box, think but creatively of how to get our candidates in front of our voting members. Dinner break. And then the big highlight of Tuesday evening is our National Intercollegiate Band, which is a joint program with our sisters of Tau Beta Sigma. And we have two amazing artists and musical leaders who will be who have been and will be leading this effort here. So I'll share more about that. And then we have our NIB post-concert reception. Um, okay, Tuesday. So, sorry, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We start each of those days with our district caucus. I'm going to put that out there now. We're starting with district caucus early in the morning. So, Arupa, what was that saying that the SED would always say about getting up early?
if you're going to turn up, you have to show up.
Right.
So everybody knows that when you get into a convention week, you want to spend the evenings getting to know your fellow active members who you maybe have never met before, or you haven't seen in a while, and spend some quality social time. And I think President Coe has done a good job with this schedule of working in some of that quality social time, but we all know what happens. It gets late into the evening and everyone wants to keep hanging out. And that is great. But also, we are there at convention to get some things done. And I know that your district presidents and your district governors are going to be super appreciative if you're able to be there, right there with them, and support them as they are starting their caucuses at 8:30 each morning on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So, President Coe, do you want to talk about what a district caucus is?
Yes. So a district caucus is And the way that we're doing it this year, before I get into, well, let me start with what it is. It is a time for you and the rest of the members from your district, and technically anybody who is sitting for a proxy for a chapter within your district, to all come together to have a deeper discussion about any of the matters from budget to jurisdiction changes or proposals to the elections. So it's really a time for you to literally come together, sort of like a huddle, and talk about certain things where you can ask questions that you may not be may not feel as comfortable asking in front of the entire delegation. And then really what it does is it helps inform your district president, who will be casting a vote on behalf of the district. And then it will also inform your chapter delegate on how they will be voting as well. So it's a really important time to make sure that you do show up, especially if you have questions, concerns, whatever it may be, that you show up to be a part of that discussion. Your voice matters. We want you to be there, but it's not, in a organized fashion. We have to follow our procedures, and the way that you go about this is making sure you do it at caucus. Inform your delegate for them to then speak on the floor.
Amazing. So again, please make sure that you are there to support your district president, who's going to be casting a vote on behalf of your home district, on all of the matters that are being voted on, and to also support your chapter delegate, who is going to be learning about all of the votes that are going to be happening and the important changes or decisions that are going to be made. And, they don't want to be sitting in a room full of 12 people because nobody was able to show up. So please, it would be great if you can support all of those folks, there with them in person. 8:30 is early, but is not terrible. President Coe could have gone way earlier if needed, and some past conventions have. So I appreciate the 8:30 start. But it's a great time for you all to just meet as a district and talk about things outside of the formal setting of the big separate session meetings, and instead of trying to just find each other in hallways.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, Arupa. Okay, so jumping ahead here, we have some business sessions. Again, we can go into more of that some later point. I made some changes actually today to some of our workshop blocks. So we will have Dr. Kirk Rendazzo, past national president and a major contributor to the Founder Circle Leadership Development Program that's specific for Kappa Kappa Psi. He will be serving as our Founders Circle keynote speaker, and it will take up this block here. And essentially, the way that I wanted to, I was envisioning workshops instead of having a collection of different workshops. I wanted, as I was thinking about the different conventions and conferences I've gone to, there's usually some sort of track, there's usually some sort of thread or something that you can sort of
Right.
follow from step one to step, or whatever the next step is.
Yes.
So we're going to be utilizing the Founder Circle as the framework. So we'll start with the big keynote, which is usually that level 3, that big societal overview of what leadership should mean to us or could mean to us. And then we'll transition into another workshop block with smaller workshops, between maybe 4 to 6 workshops. We'll be finalizing that next week for this next workshop block here, and then we'll have another workshop block later on Thursday and all of our presenters are trained, vetted speakers through the Founder Circle speaker program. And so if you all remember, during our National Month of Leadership, we did a call for applications for speakers. So we're excited to announce those folks soon and to have them at National Convention with us to make sure that you're getting quality workshops that, again, are vetted, that are specifically designed for you, with you in mind.
So new Founder Circle speakers who folks have not heard from before. So it's going to be very exciting.
Yes, so we'll have both. We'll have some folks that you haven't seen in a while, some faces you may have seen too much, and then yes, like Aruka said, a group of cohort of folks that you have not heard from before.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, thank you. We are also very excited about this. It's been a hot minute since we've been able to really get the Founder Circle
Yeah.
really up and running again. So with that, we also know that, of course, music is a big part of who we are, why we have even sort of showed up together in the first place, or came together and formed as an organization, formed our relationships with one another, and what keeps us here is music. So music, with Tuesday we had NIB. On Wednesday we have Music Hour, and we'll have a series of workshops or options, I should say, where we'll have a stroll workshop led by brothers and sisters. We'll have a movement workshop led by brothers and sisters as well. That will include some color guard or auxiliary work, and then some also body movement as well. So that will be exciting. That will be in the convention center. Now, in the hotel, we'll have in some of our workshop rooms. One of the things that we're very excited about, Rupa, I don't know if you've heard about this yet, but a Dr. Campbell will be presenting music in video games, which he is creating uniquely for us because this is usually a class that he teaches all semester long, and now he's condensing it into highlighting it for us in a workshop. So that will be very
Yep.
exciting as
I
well.
may have been hearing about that in my own household. Fair warning, he is my husband, so I'm very excited and I can't wait. I've heard him develop this course and give this course for several years now, and I'm really excited to see how he's going to distill it down for us. It's going to be great.
Absolutely. In addition to that, we will also have Tony Falcone and a sister representative who will be co-leading a workshop on music education at the sort of secondary level and then the collegiate level as well. And they'll kind of talk through post-graduation, how, so what are some of the best practices to get to that next level or how to get your foot in the door with whichever level that you want to teach music at. So we'll have that. We'll have a conducting workshop as well, led by our national VPPRs, Dr. Lake and Dr. Webb, and that will be exciting. Again, just finding different ways so traditionally, I think we've had ways where people are going to play instruments, and we hope to have a couple of those options as well. But knowing that not everyone can show up with their
Right.
instruments, we also wanted to make sure people had different opportunities to explore music in different ways. So that is our music hour.
And that's really great because, you may have attended a district convention, and we have made sure that each of our district conventions has a music hour as part of its programming. And so this is the reflection of that at the national level. That's something that we are trying to have at all of our conventions. So this is the national version of that.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Okay. So to wrap up our Wednesday is another musical opportunity, but this is the premiere of the Kappa Kappa Psi Intercollegiate Jazz Band. This is again the first of its kind in the entire world, where we're going to have collegiate jazz musicians from all over come together to prepare a concert for us with, I think, only a few days of rehearsal. So we'll have one of our conductor he is from Purdue University. You can find out more information about that at kkpsi.org/jazz. But again, this is a very exciting opportunity, and our Board of Trustees has done an amazing job of creating funding or opportunities for our folks, our supporters, our alums to make gifts or to support in a financial matter. So huge thanks to them for that, but that will be very exciting. I'm looking forward to what the set list will be. All right. Again, Thursday morning, we'll kick off with District Caucus. We'll do another keynote speaker. This will be a little bit different because we're not doing so much maybe like a keynote lecture style or talking at you, but this will be a little bit more of a Q&A. And again, I'll share more information about that later. We'll have more business here. And as I'm thinking out loud here, and this is where that workshop block I was mentioning, that last one there to kind of break up the day a bit. But Thursday will most likely be when we hear, well, I should say when we vote on our Board of Trustees election, which we have 3 open seats. So I wanted to break up elections a little bit because we have 16 people. It's
Yeah.
a lot to go through.
Yeah.
So we're going to break it up to BOT on Thursday and then National Council officers for Friday. Workshop block, yada, yada, yada. The other exciting part here is our KKSI ritual on the national scene. I think anybody and everybody who's been to a national convention will say that one of their favorite memories is attending and being a part of a national ritual where we'll be honoring and recognizing our national chapter honoraries. With that, this is a very special opportunity for us to also see and learn about how the ritual should be um, executed. And I know that all of our chapters have different traditions and different things that we do. And while there's an appreciation for the creativity, I also think that it's important, and many people think this, I should say, that we also do need to at least understand and know how to execute it in the way that it's supposed to. And I think it's also going to be important as we talk about the ritual, knowing that as we go into next biennium, there's going to be a lot of talk about the ritual, which will lead up to the end of the moratorium, the 10-year moratorium at the 2027 National Convention. So more about that later. Uh, to wrap up that, we have a brotherhood, which is now going to be more of a joint social event with our sisters as well. A couple of options. If you have not looked at the surrounding area, there's a place called Lex Live, which is right across, literally right, maybe what, 30 steps, just
Yeah.
right across the street from the hotel. It's an amusement megaplex with a movie
Yeah.
theater, with a bowling alley, with an arcade, with a place for you to consume food and beverages to
Whatever
watch.
beverage you would like.
You would like for you to watch sporting events if you would like to. So there's just so much to do, and there's a variety of ways for people to engage and just sort of hang out and build community. In the hotel, what we're planning on, we'll see if it will actually come to fruition or not, but sort of a room of requirements where you'll have a corner with games like Mario Kart, you'll have a DCI watch party on another corner, you have board games, you'll have all these different things. And I'm really hoping that there will be ice cream because that's really what I would like after a long day. So more information to come on about that, but that's Thursday. Friday, I'll highlight again national officer elections, installations of those officers, important votes happening. Um,
Yeah, that's going to be like the culminating votes day. So if
yeah,
there's a day where you're going to be concentrating on the future of the fraternity, it's really going to be Friday.
absolutely, absolutely, and I will be most likely very stressed, but also very relieved that it is almost over.
Yeah.
And um, Dr. Rohr, you'll hear Dr. Rohr give his incoming national president speech, and then my farewell address to you all as I say, "KK, bye," forever. Um, and then from there, we'll have our free time banquet prep. And if you notice, all of our meals, again, trying to be really intentional about giving you all time to not only eat and rest and decompress, but also just exist without, everybody being
Right.
around you all the time. We know that this may be a high stress and high just an intense moment for folks who aren't used to
Yeah,
this
it's a
sort of
lot of
crowd.
stimulation. There's a lot going on. Your social battery is like turned all the way up a good
Yeah,
amount of the time because you do want to take advantage of the fact that there are brothers from across the country all in the same place with you, and that doesn't happen all the time. So,
you know.
you feel that pressure to take advantage of that moment, but you also need that quiet time to decompress.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then, boom, at the end of this will be our banquet and our after banquet festivities. And folks, I promise you, we are going to try to spread out the awards. We're going to try to make sure we have a very strict format for awards and how long things can go. I will do my best to make sure that banquet does not run on and on and on forever because I do also want to get to the post banquet festivities with you all. But again, your grace and your understanding
Yeah,
and flexibility are always appreciated as we try to make sure that 2 years worth of recognitions and just celebrations is important for all of us. We want to make sure those folks feel seen, feel appreciated, but of course, we also want to make sure you don't feel bored like my
right.
mother and my family in Orlando were
Oh
very,
no.
very upset
Yeah.
that banquet went on too long.
It's a tough spot, and anyone who has maybe been to a district convention or helped plan a district convention, it's the same kind of dilemma that you deal with, where you want to recognize folks, but you also want to make sure that it doesn't go on too long. And unfortunately, it just takes a little bit of extra time and planning with so much else going on. It's an additional thing to think about and plan, but I know that President Ko is trying very hard to make sure that it is an enjoyable experience for everyone.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I will do my best. Okay, so there's a lot of information. So let me just go through quickly. I won't jump through too much. Oh, last thing for on the schedule. For our alums as well, we do have the KK Alumni Association schedule here. So please do take a look at that. There are going to be parts where we are separated for a very specific KK activists and KK Alumni Association programming, but there's also a lot of time where we're sharing space together as well.
Yeah.
But we do want to make sure that you know that there is a specific schedule for you all. All right,
Okay.
our featured speakers. Okay. All right, here we go. So we have Saul Flores, who will be speaking as our keynote speaker on Tuesday, July 15th. You can read more about him here. We found him through Campus Speak. Mickey Smith Jr., a Grammy Music Educator Award recipient, motivational speaker, author, and musician, as you can see by his headshot, also a very cool and snazzy dresser and saxophone player. But he'll be our speaker on Thursday. These two folks here are TBS speakers as well, and there might be an opportunity where brothers may be able to attend, but I'll have to double check on that. But the big introduction or the big announcement that I have not made just yet, so I guess special
Hot
kudos
off the
and
presses.
hot off the presses for those who are watching is Jason Weaver. If you are like, hey, he looks kind of similar, you may have seen him on TV, on a show, in a movie. But the particular movie I do want to highlight is a movie called Drumline with Nick Cannon. And if you recall that Crab, who was sort of pulled out in the middle of the night of his dorm, asked to walk he had, this black robe on, walk over the burning coals of whatever. This is Jason Weaver, and in the movie, he
He was
he
initiated
played.
into
Yeah, he was
the local chapter of Kappa Kappa Psi.
Kappa Science. Yes, so he is an honorary member of a local chapter, and he will be one of our national honoraries as well
That's
at this
amazing.
convention. This is what I mentioned earlier, where instead of having him just speak at you, we're going to do more of a Q&A, and I've asked Governor Rasai Elliott, who will be serving as our MC throughout the entire national convention, to help me do a bit of a Q&A with Jason Weaver to talk about his personal, professional, and now his fraternal journey and everything that he's had to overcome or endure or just overall learn about life to get to where he is now, being as successful as he is. So Jason Weaver is one of our speakers.
That's
Now,
amazing. That's really exciting.
yes, thank you, thank you. I don't think it's on here just yet, but we also do have 3 student keynote speakers as well, or address speakers. Uh, you'll find more information about that on our national website and in my recent newsletter, and we'll highlight it throughout June as well. But also want to note that it's important that we created additional opportunities for our students to be in front of students and the student voice to really be centered and to
Right.
share their story, to share their journey as well. So information about that. Elections, I'll skip for now. Forms, if you hover over forms in KK Psi, these 3 here aren't as important because the deadlines are passed, but to highlight, this is where you find the chapter delegate proxy form that we talked about earlier. This will take you to our intercollegiate jazz band, which we mentioned about earlier, this to our hotel site, and then this just to some more information about Lexington and all the cool things about it. And if you I mean, I don't know how to explain it. You just kind of have to be there. But the way that this convention center hotel is situated is right downtown Lexington. And right across the street, like we mentioned earlier, is that sort of entertainment multiplex. But on the other corner, streets of hotels, of different restaurants. When we were there in January for our winter council meeting, I wanted to do a bit of a around the world for our NLT members. So the first night we went to this nice Italian place. For lunch, we went to this sushi, like Asian fusion place. I mean, like and then I think we went to like a pizza, was it Pies and Pints for dinner one
Oh
night?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So all this to say this, there's all these different options out there, but do please take a look at Visit Lexington, because if I can't excite you with that, I don't know what will. But the last thing I'll mention, and this is specifically for Akila Thomas, one of our NCD governors, is that there's this place called Cookout. And if you have not had Cookout, to me, is one of the gems of America. Cookout, you have to be there to know its magic. But again, please
Yep.
show up. I will buy milkshakes for the first 5 people who show up with me. So, but yeah,
Amazing.
that's the website, Arupa. I know that was a bit of a deeper dive than maybe expected, but it's a
No,
lot of
that's great.
information. Yeah.
Yeah, it's helpful to know sort of where everything is and how to get to it and how to interpret all of that data. And like we said, there are still updates coming, so keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on the newsletter for other links and just keep updated on what's happening. Updates will also be on our social media channels, so make sure you're following us there as well. But as we did a little bit of a tour and we're now in the sort of preparing for the during part of National Convention, we talked a little bit about establishing your chapter delegate or proxy. Now is also a good time for you and your chapter to figure out how you're going to communicate with your chapter's delegate and talk to them even in the middle of maybe a business meeting happening where they're sitting separately from you in the delegation and your chapter members are somewhere else in the room, so that you can talk about how you might want certain decisions to go. So some chapters set up a group chat or a group me. You might have a Discord where everyone can just be on at the same time. So now is a good time for you to kind of establish that. And it's even more important if you know for sure that your chapter is not sending a delegate in person. And so you're going to have a proxy to try and maybe make contact with some of those chosen proxy chapters to establish something before the convention gets there so that that person sitting proxy for your chapter doesn't feel completely in the dark about what it
Hmm.
is that you're going to want to do while at the convention, and just figure out how you're going to agree on making those voting decisions. You're going to be talking about it in the caucuses and walking around, but there's always going
Hmm.
to be things last minute that you will need to address as a chapter. So next, do we want to go into a little bit of the national elections, just briefly?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Okay, so 16 candidates. I
Yeah,
think this is the most we've had in a long time, if not ever. 16 candidates is a lot. There's a lot of people to discuss and to intake the information. So even before we get to national elections, please do take the time to go to our national convention website, just like we showed you, to go through elections and read. Folks, these folks have taken the time to put together their materials. So do them the honor of reviewing their materials, of watching their intro videos, which is on that site as well. And then formulate your questions. Talk to your chapter about what is it that you're looking for in your next national officers. What is it that you're looking to see? Whose goals align with yours? And just have those conversations so that you're at least starting to think about who. Um,
yeah. And
so
if you're feeling a little bit lost because it's a lot of information, my previous VPSA chat was with Evan Thompson, who is vice chair of the Board of Trustees. He's also a member of our National Nominations Committee. So I was able to speak with him on the previous VPSA chat. We spent a whole hour talking about the process, how to approach things, where you can find all the information. So that video is still up on our Facebook page if you scroll back a little bit, and you can watch that video. It will also be in the chapter resources folder. I'm not sure it's there quite yet, but that's a great place to start if you want sort of a real big overview and a little bit more of an in-depth discussion on how the elections are going to go.
absolutely. And thank you for doing that and thank you to Evan for being part of that call as well. Um, Okay, so elections. Again, my hope and goal, my vision is to split up the National Council and the Board of Trustees elections. Board of Trustees will go on Thursday. The elections will be on Thursday, and the National Council elections will be on uh, Friday. With that, I need to think of where am I going to fit the candidates to come speak to each of the districts, and it might be very. I mean, it might be very quick, but I'm thinking about maybe we do a number of people on Wednesday morning during that first caucus, and then some more people on Thursday and maybe on Friday as well. It just really depends on how the timing plays out, but again, the
Yeah,
goal is to
16 people
have.
is a lot to fit in to talk to each caucus for sure.
Yeah. And then if that doesn't play out, I might try to be able to fit in some addresses, I guess, or introductions of each candidate into our separate sessions. So
Yeah.
again, it's not solidified just yet, but just know that I'm trying to think of ways in which to get these candidates in front of you. But if you could help meet me halfway and review their materials to
Yeah.
send somebody here to represent your chapter, and your wants and your needs as a chapter, that is really, really helpful. So again, all that to say, elections are going to be an important part. It may be a stressful time. I'm sure it will be stressful for the candidates. So we're going to try to make this as safe, as seamless as possible for everybody involved.
Yeah, that's great. So I do have a question in the comments on the
No,
Facebook
okay.
Live. It says, do you know if the brother making the hotel reservation has to be 21 or older?
That is such a great, great question. I believe so, but let me, I will double check, and I see that it is Ethan, but you know what? I will add this may be on the FAQ page, but if it's not, we'll add it to the FAQ page, and I'll add it to my newsletter. And there's an email that I'm planning on sending out on Friday as well. So, Ethan, thank you for that question. I'm
We will
sorry,
double
I did
check.
not know. Yes.
Yeah, but that's a fair question for sure. If anyone else has other questions, please put them. We're keeping an eye on it. If you need any clarification, just let us know. So we talked about uh, the website and the schedule and all of the things that are going to be happening. We talked about elections. Now we are nearing the end, and I think we each wanted to provide a little bit of a personal reflection on attending National Convention to maybe give you some insight on what you can expect personally from your experience. Bong, would you like to start?
Yes. So I have to, I mean, this is very biased of me. So 10 years ago, in 2015, we were at the same site, and I had the honor of serving as president of the North Central District. And I actually wrote a whole article about this in our previous podium. If you go to refer to page 31 to 33, it's my sort of 10-year journey from Lexington to Lexington, or from 2015 to 2025, going from district president to now national president, which I never would have thought would have been possible. But to your question, is and it's so hard to pick one, but I would say when you first walk into that General Assembly hall, and I remember it was a little bit darker. I remember seeing the stages, the stage lights and everything, seeing all these seats, and you can't really see anyone's faces, but you hear some of this rumbling noise. And I just remember walking in, and there's this group of people who are just going, pig, suey, or whatever. And I'll have to have Mason do it for you all. But
Yeah,
it was the Lambda chapter at the University of Arkansas doing their call, and then I saw brothers, and I don't recall which chapter, but they were doing their chapter stroll, their chapter
yeah,
step, and it was just so. I can't even use, I don't know the right word to describe it, but it's like you felt like you were just part of something much more magical and just bigger than yourself and bigger than your
right.
chapter, than bigger than your district, because there's all these people who share the same, if not more, a bigger passion for Kappa Kappa Psi. Because I mean, I just showed up in letters, and some people were like fully decked out in KK Psi gear.
Yeah,
So to me, my favorite memory, as an active student, I would say, or as an active member, is the 2015, just because of how much I learned. That's where I first met Jessica Lee, Dr. Jack Lee now, where he became national president, where we elected Evan Thompson as our VPCM back then, which is the equivalent of VPME now. I mean, just a lot of the people that have been a big part of my fraternal journey, my KK journey, I sort of met there. And I remember my district council, we showed up together, myself, Jared Tuming, Akila Thomas, Darren Martin. I mean, it was just some of the most formative times as for me as an active member. Now, a quick pivot to alumni favorite memory, I would say 2017, Lazy River, must
oh
say,
yeah, for sure.
was my favorite alumni experience.
Yeah,
So
a good lazy river. That's nice.
yeah.
So I will show my age a little bit versus Bong here, but my very first national convention was 2005 Lexington. So I'm having a 20-year journey to now being on the National Council, which is similarly, not something I necessarily saw for myself, but that same sort of experience of seeing the national breadth and width of the organization. I had only been to one district convention that spring in 2005 before as an active member, and then just going to national convention and seeing how differently people approached things, but how very much on the same page that we all were because we have this very specific thing in common of being members of these organizations. And so seeing that diversity of thought and opinion and execution and knowing that just like socially, I'm not necessarily the person who's gonna go up to somebody new and start a conversation. But I knew that in that space, if I was having lunch or walking around, I could walk up to anybody. I could sit at any table with any group of people and
Right.
have a welcoming experience. It creates this totally even playing field that I don't experience very often anywhere else in my life. You know, classmates in school or coworkers or other organizations I'm involved with. This one is where I know if I'm at one of these events, I have something in common with everybody, and we're all kind of on the same page, and we don't even have to have any of that weird, awkward small talk, right? It just, we all know each other because we all understand where we've been. And
Mm.
my favorite memory from there was seeing Dr. Tim Lotzenheiser for the very first time. I was not a music ed student. I was not really in an area of the country where he presented at the time, at least that I was aware of. So this was my first exposure to him. He's a legend in band leadership circles, and I was able to watch two of his presentations. And again, it helped widen my view of the band world and of leadership in general. It's something that I worked on in high school band and in college band, trying to develop those band leadership skills. And so, again, it just provides you an opportunity to see folks speak and present that you wouldn't get in your usual community that you're around all of the time. Maybe you
Hmm.
attend your state's music education conference or, you know, local conferences, but this has that national appeal and has people that you just wouldn't necessarily be exposed to. And so it's a lot of great value in a small package. So, and in terms of being an alumni, you know, I sort of graduated and took 10 years off the fraternity and was working on my career and other things. And so my first one back was 2017 in Orlando, and I was very excited to reconnect with everybody and experience that fraternal feeling again. And it set me on the track of getting involved again and becoming part of the national leadership team. So, for you alumni who maybe haven't been around the fraternity in a while, maybe you went to 2005 or 2015 Lexington. This can be a little bit of a homecoming for you. Get together with groups that you know, folks that you went to those conventions with and try to come back together. So, I definitely recommend that because it was a great experience for me and sort of helped put me on this path. So those were some great experiences.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. Man, '05 and then 15 and 25. I mean, it feels like Lexington is this place that continues to serve as our sort of gathering homecoming place
Yeah,
every 10 years.
yeah, it's the place to be. It's great.
Yeah.
So we talked about before, we talked about during, and now we're coming up on time. I think we've got about 5 minutes left on about an hour. We did start a little bit late. So we'll just do a little bit of wrap up at the end, but it's important to think about your post-convention self because
Hmm.
oftentimes you're so busy with thinking about packing and getting ready and doing all of the things when you're there at national convention. Folks aren't necessarily thinking about what might happen after the last day of convention. Banquet is over, you wake up the next day
Hmm.
and you're traveling home. So, what are your suggestions for that post-convention period?
That's such a good question. Okay. So I would say is that, well, okay, a few things here. Is number one, I hope and I highly encourage that you have, before you get to convention, have a plan of how, one, how you're going to get home, but
Yeah.
two, knowing that, like, if you are driving and if it's more than an hour or whatever, is that you have a plan of who will be driving. You're taking turns, that if whoever's driving first, that they get a good night's rest, whatever that may be. Um, just making sure you have a plan to get home safely. That is number one. Number two, I would say, is that I think a lot of people, well, you're most likely going to be very tired, or there's going to be like the drop of adrenaline. And I know
Yep.
that I always sort of think crash out means something different these days. So like I usually crash. Um, and it's just again your body, you've been just overly stimulated in that drop of adrenaline. So making sure that you actually build in time to really rest. And I would say this, it's like sort of like a bit of jet lag.
Yeah.
And what do we want to call that? We should come up with a catchy. I guess they just call it NapCon. NapCon
Yeah.
is
It's NAPCON.
you right, you want to make sure you rest. So ideally, you wouldn't schedule work right after
Right.
NapCon, but if you do have to, making sure that it's a light schedule or that you're not over extending yourself in a way that might cause you harm. I would say the last thing is in terms of like sort of internally, there's always post-convention blues. And I know that every time uh, after a national convention, I usually, even if I'm not sad about something, like it just again just
It's
heightened
a lot of
emotions. Like I
emotion.
just right, I tend to just cry and just kind of let that those emotions out. So again, creating that space for you to just be in your feelings and to feel your feelings and to let things out so that way you're not just sort of um boxing everything up in an
Yeah.
unhealthy way. But also too, like making sure that you're keeping in touch with the folks. You create group chats, add people on social media, share stories. And this is why, for example, this National Month of Celebration is so important because there's so many cool things that happen. And sometimes I think our folks are too shy, too humble to share, but you are doing a lot of growing and learning at National Convention, and you should share that. Our fraternity, we're doing amazing things. We have, an IB, an IJB. We have these a national founders leadership development program that you're learning from people who are trained and vetted. You're getting to learn from some great music educators for our music hour. I mean, there's so many cool things to like talk about it, like and take that moment to just be present of the fact that like you just experienced probably some life-changing moments, but don't, like we are told in the ritual, don't isolate yourself, right?
Yeah.
Know that there are other people around you who are there to support you and who are most likely feeling the same things. I know that I will be feeling a lot of different feelings, but very bittersweet feelings. But making sure you have your people to talk to, because from externally, physically, internally, like there's just so much that you're just going like all in for 4 days, and then all of a sudden it's
It's over.
gone,
Yeah.
right? So again, just making sure that you find a way to ease yourself into that transition back into normal life.
That's right. Make sure that you're being kind to yourself, giving yourself some grace as you come out of that very busy week. Um, there are some other light housekeeping things to keep in mind as our national convention ends. Generally, our headquarters staff, after working very hard, uh, getting ready for and going through national convention, will often be on vacation. So headquarters may be a little bit delayed in responses. So if you need anything from them, please be working on that now, because right after National Convention, they're going to be on some leave. There will also obviously be a turnover of leadership. Our Board of Trustees will be a slightly different composition, and we will have a brand new National Council. So be on the lookout for those announcements, messages from them, anything to get the new biennium started. We want to make sure that you're catching all of that. And we also want to make sure that you're sharing everything that you learned from National Convention with your chapter. So obviously, not everyone from every chapter is going to be able to be there. And so if you are there representing your chapter, you, a couple of people, a bunch of people, make sure that you're figuring out a way to store that information so that it is shareable afterwards. Make yourself a Google Drive right now where you're going to throw everything in when you're there. Make a file folder for yourself for any physical printouts or things that you might want to keep and share with them. If you think about that now, you're not going to forget it when you're actually at National Convention and then leave the convention like, I learned all this great stuff, but I don't know where to find any of it. So if you make a plan now for how to share all of that wonderful information with your chapter members afterwards, it's going to make it so much easier. Trust me. So, is there anything else about post-convention you want to talk about?
Not specifically. I just sorry to interrupt. I did
Yeah.
see another question in the chat. I don't know if we wanted to go over that. But Ethan, if you're still there, if you left us, I take offense to that. But Ethan, if you're still watching, I asked Aaron Moore and
Oh,
Dolly O'Neill, our interim national executive director. So both of them said that no, you do not have to be 21 to reserve a room. You just have to have a valid credit card. So that is my official response to that.
I will type a
And
reply in the chat so that Ethan will get the
thank
alert
you.
if they're not here anymore.
And then please let me know so that I that way I can tell Ethan how personal I took that his
And
departure.
we will add it to the FAQ.
Thank you, thank you. And then Sam from Hi Epsilon Iota, thank you for tuning in. Sam's question is also about the hotel. They've been looking into a room and the link from the NatCom page going through the hotel website. How many rooms per person? It says there's no matching rooms available, even when it's recommended one room, two people. Is the hotel fully booked? Let's see. I do not. Dolly says that we should have rooms available, but if you do have issues, please do contact us. Ethan's still here. Hi, Ethan.
Hello.
That there still should be rooms left. But again, we will double check. We're actually again going down to Lexington this weekend, Thursday, Friday, to take a look at everything. So we will post some updates on social media. If something does book or if the room block is booked up. But I mean that's a good problem to have. But don't
Cool.
start. Oh, I froze. Let me unfreeze. Nope. 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 Okay. Well, you're just going to look at me in this position. So don't start looking at different room hotels just yet. Wait for us to give you the go ahead. If
The
you
high
don't mind
sign.
waiting, yeah,
Yeah.
because that would be helpful. We don't want to lose out, and you don't want to
Right.
lose out on the hotel. I will say though, I mean it's a big hotel. There's a lot of
Right.
space for us to do. Oh, now I'm gone. Um,
Just a disembodied voice.
it's fine. It's fine. Okay, let me turn my camera off. And um, there is a pool, there's a fitness center, there's a restaurant in there for meals. There's a place for you to partake in drinks of your choice of
Yeah.
both of age and not of So there's all that. I will say too, just a word of warning. We're working on them with the elevators, so I will just put that out there now, so that way people aren't like, you didn't tell us about the elevators. We'll work on that. So, anyways, Sam, thank you for your question. Ethan, thank you for your question. If you have other folks who have other questions, concerns, please do let us know.
Yeah.
And Arupa, before we wrap up everything, if you don't mind, could we just do a quick firing round of like the questions we asked earlier, and let me try to give you one sentence responses, so that way maybe we can use some of it as mm, clips for social media.
Sure. No, absolutely. So before National Convention, what are the quick things that people should be doing right now?
Chapter, delegate, and proxy form, getting registered for National Convention the 195, and then booking your room. Done.
Absolutely. So during National Convention, for information about that, where should they go? How to find it?
Nat natcon.kkytbsonline.com or org, whichever one.
It's com.
Com.
natcon.kkytbsonline.com. The schedule is there, the elections information is there, and it will be updated as things get added. So if you are uh, trying to think about how to communicate with your delegate during convention, what should we be doing?
All right, I got distracted. Can you ask that one more time?
So there will be delegates sitting for every chapter, but they will need to be communicated with by their chapter or whoever they're sitting in proxy for. What should they be doing to figure out how to communicate?
Yes, so still do your best to reach out to that chapter that through their social media, through their official email. Even if you're sitting for another chapter, you want to make sure that their voice is heard. But the most important thing I would say at convention is sitting in that chapter's respective district caucus.
Right.
Done.
Absolutely. And you should start a group chat or a group me or a Discord where you can keep communicating even during business meetings. Uh, for national elections, what should people be doing right now?
National convention, what's it called? National convention website with all the candidate materials, review it, talk to your chapter about what you want to see from these your next officers and what your goals are, and find who aligns best with you. Read, watch their videos, engage.
Absolutely. And then post convention, what are the most important things to think about?
Sleep, emotions, food, check in on Bong. Tell Bong you love him. Just kidding. So it will be again just your transition back into normal life. Just making sure you have a plan in place, because if there's no plan, that's not a good time.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to hit?
I love you all, and I hope that you will come to convention. This essentially is my going away party for KK Forever.
Yay.
Um, that But more than that, it's an opportunity for you to just make lifelong memories, lifelong friends. Look, I love my chapter, but some of my favorite brothers are brothers I've met from across the country. You get to make important decisions, but I mean, I can't express to you just how valuable is just to experience this at least once in your lifetime. And I hope that with the numbers we shared earlier, with the number of alums who are coming back to this, hopefully they can share with you as well, of why they came back. And again, this is why we strategically placed our national month of celebration in June, as we lead up to sort of like the end of each year within the biennium, and as we head into national convention, because you all deserve to be celebrated, no matter how well, how poorly, whatever big things or little things that you've done or couldn't do. You deserve to be celebrated. We have been through a lot in our lives, but specifically in this biennium as well. Your chapter deserves to be celebrated. You deserve to share your love for all of this. Like, this is such a special time that if you're worried about missing out, if you're not sure how to get to convention, please reach out. Please let us know. You
Yep.
have your district officers, you have your district governors, you have Arupa here. I'm been very bad at answering my email, so with love, don't email me, because I might not catch it. But again, all to say, please be there. And it's not just for me, but like for yourself, and for your KK side journey. Like, this is just such a tremendous time to learn about what it means to be a brother of Kappa Kappa Psi. So.
Absolutely. So please be there and join us. And if you're having any trouble, if you have any questions, please let us know. I will put some contact information in the comments in a moment, but the National Convention website also gives you places where you can ask for help if you need it. So if you need anything, just let us know. I'm just going to do a quick rundown of some ending thoughts here at the last bit. If you have any further questions, please put them in the comments. Bong will keep an eye on it as I ramble along. So, reminders, natcon.kkytbsonline.com is the National Convention website. The National Elections website, you just click elections on that link. We will be putting the recording of this chat in the chapter resources folder, which is tinyurl.com/kkpsi resources with an S at the end. The CFRs have worked very hard to cram that Google Drive full of a bunch of great information. So not only just the VPSA chats, there's a lot of great information on the Google Drive. So please have a look. It's also that time of year where a lot of forms are due, not just for National Convention. The spring activity report was due on June 1st. So if you're not done with that, if you're not sure if your chapter is done with that, check in with your president, make sure it's going through. And if you're having any trouble getting your sponsors or directors of bands to sign off, please reach out to your district councils, your district governors. They can definitely help get in contact with those folks to make sure they're not having issues and they can get that submitted for you. There's also a graduating seniors report, which is important for you to submit because it moves your seniors from active to alumni status. They get that one free year in the Alumni Association. So please be sure that that report goes in. Any officer update forms so that Opus is updated with who is active and current on your executive board at your chapter. All of that is super important. If you're not sure, again, if your chapter is doing all of that, check with your president, give them a tap on the shoulder, shoot them a text, make sure, and I'm sure they will appreciate the support as well. And yeah, that's it for now. So thank you all for being here. First and foremost, I want to thank President Coe for all of the important hard work that has gone into making this national convention a great one. I'm sure we're all going to be very grateful when we're there, and it's a giant undertaking. So thank you for all of the brain cells. We appreciate it. Um, if anyone else has any questions or comments, please put them on the post. We will keep answering them even after the call is over. And yeah, so this is the final VPSA chat of the biennium. Thank you all for being on this journey with me for the past year. It's been a great time talking to some great folks, and I hope that these will continue into the next biennium with most likely a different VPSA, but I will be watching either way. So thanks again, President Coe, for joining me. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you in Lexington. Be there. See you
Or
later,
I'll be
guys.
upset.
Or we'll be so upset. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody. KK, bye.